People often ask me why a great deal of my work is concerned with the working class movement. And the nice ones, the friendly ones, conclude that it's some sort of do-gooding on my part, which of course is bloody ridiculous. The truth is that the working class movement, the trade unions, the Communist Party, for all its faults, these are the people who are saying, don't tread on me, and therefore those are the people I want to be associated with. Those are the people to whom I want to show my international language. But that's only part of the story. The main part of the story is that I get a tremendous amount from them. My associations with them are necessary to me as an artist. They keep my feet on the ground, and I'm connected with reality. I'm not being drawn away into the sterile world that much of modern art, much of the modern artist's work is. A white, airless, unhappy, and rather unstable world. I don't want to be associated with this. This is Brecht's world of submission, and not the world of non-submission. I was born near the sound of the sea. I like the sea. It's a landscape in motion. It changes more dramatically, more quickly than do the fields and the hills. And it's this change and motion in landscape and in art that particularly interests me. The English landscape has always affected English artists, and of course I'm no exception. A constant revisiting of the countryside I find to be essential because it's a portrait of what I am. When I look at a landscape, I see the men and women and the cultures that have gone before us, that have made us what we are. They've left their mark upon the soil in the way it's tilled, in the buildings they've made, in the structure of the hedges and the walls. It's a sort of recorded history of the people who made us what we are. Even the flotsam from the sea is a record of change. It's a portrait of the forces that have shaped it. And my father could have been a very good artist. He's a very capable draftsman. When I was a kid, he used to come home in the evenings and sit down with a pencil and draw. Now, for a working man in those days to do that, it was very unusual. He used to copy drawings, copy pictures out of a newspaper. So his imagination wasn't very developed, but certainly his hand was very developed. And also, the fact that he could do it after doing a day on the railway was something. Said a lot for the old man. Because I've seen him come home and come to the fire, and we had a grate, and he used to come in maybe 10 o'clock at night and take his shirt off. And my mother used to pull his vest off and wring it out in the bloody fireplace. Absolutely soaking with sweat. And he'd have a wash then with a basin in front of the fire and that, And then he'd sit down and draw. Now, by Christ, for a bloke to do that, it must have said a lot for the bloke, I think. But when I started to draw, he stopped. And I've always been a bit sorry about it. I wonder if he thought, oh, well, what's the point? He didn't have much chance anyway, sort of thing. But his father, you see, had worked in the potteries as a potter. And his father, my great-grandfather, made violins. So that, you know, there was always plenty of encouragement. My real life was in Bournemouth. I went to work when I was 14 as a baker boy, and that had a hell of an impression on me. Because I used to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was just 14. And it was pitch dark. I started in the winter, pitch bloody dark. And, you know, I always thought it was very unfair having to go to work at this time of the morning in the bloody dark. I used to work all day Saturday, and later on also throughout the week. But in the beginning on the Saturday, I used to get 3 and 6 for Saturday, shilling of which went on my bloody lunch, so I actually took home 2 and 6pence. The houses that I delivered bread to, they were dreadful places. Very nouveau riche, crude, money-orientated ideas expressed in bricks and mortar. Mock Spanish villas on the cliff tops. It's a town of retired people, often rich ones, admirals and colonels and all the rest of it. Used to be very good recruiting material for Oswald Mosley just before the war. You know, the day when I suddenly went to a Marxist class, I was a sort of little greenhorn. I was only about 16 then. Went to a little village called Fair Oak, outside Eastleigh. Eastleigh is a railwayman's town, about 7 mile out, which I walked to. And I went to a little, horrible little house, and there was a funny bloke there, a bit of a sort of intellectual, who read a bit of Marx and explained it. And it was as though somebody had opened the door on a new world, and I sort of walked out all the way home, right up above the ground. Because from being a sort of little working class lad with a narrow upbringing, somebody sort of opened the door, you know, and I saw there was a world I never dreamed existed. Working in the factory, as I did when I lived in Eastleigh, I found a need to go back to the New Forest at the weekend. So I often used to cycle there with my girlfriend. And somehow the forest had now changed in the sense that I saw it very differently. I saw that there were natural laws governing the way it grew and developed, just as I had learned that there were similar laws governing the development of mankind. Before I left Bournemouth, of course, the Second World War broke out, and I went up to Southampton and joined the Royal Marine No. 1 Commandos. It's just about the most bloody stupid thing I ever did in my life. people of this country have been robbed of a feeling, of an understanding of the arts, robbed of the belief in the arts, robbed in the same way of a belief in themselves. They have been taught from an early age that they're not capable and have no power to change things. People are naturally interested in the question why and what they are, and therefore they can be interested in art itself. But our society is constantly destroying this interest in ordinary people. The more this is done, the more people will become prey to anti-human ideas of people like Powell and Nixon. One of the jobs of artists like myself is to make it more difficult for the Powells and Nixons of the world to get away with such confidence tricks. In England, people are not interested in the arts. You see, the arts are all very well to decorate the company report or to titillate, after work you can go to the theatre and see a nice little Noel Coward or some bloody thing like this. But English people are not very interested in their artists. They never take them seriously anyway. So just making a living's hard enough. But over and above this, I think one of the terrible things about English society, which is capitalist society, is the fact that it's robbed ordinary people of any belief in themselves and therefore any belief in anyone else. You see, working people don't believe that they got the power to change things. They don't believe they've got any strength at all. They don't even believe that they can appreciate the arts. At the lowest level they say, oh well, I don't understand it, but I know what I like, sort of thing. There's no reason they shouldn't understand it. They got the same experience as me. They got eyes. They've lived with the woman next door who poor old cow's dying of cancer or something, and the kids next door are growing up and they see death and life. So with a little bit of talking to them, they could appreciate it as well as anyone else. In fact, that's better because they've been through it themselves, you see. But all of society has taught them that, you're a nobody. You're a working class bloke. The leaders are the public school boys, not you. You went to bloody elementary school, and so on. And the whole thing is set up like that. So that for anyone who wants to be an artist in a humanist sense, it's bloody disheartening. Because the very people that you'd like to have contact with, not work for, because I'm against that. This is Arnold Wester doing the missionary. That drives me up the bloody wall. The people that you want to sort of make a bridge between you and them don't believe that it's anything to do with them. You see, and certainly have got no idea of just how powerful they are. You've got to be very politically conscious to understand how powerful working class is. If it hadn't have been for these two things, first of all, the sort of acquaintance with this opening door, and the characters that it's brought me in contact with, I'd have given up years ago. I really would, because you can work your guts out producing something that you think will help the working class struggle a bit, and nobody cares, mate. You can spend a bloody week painting a banner, and when they've done with it, they roll it up and chuck it in the back of the van, and it gets pissed on, and you could go and sort of blow your brains out. Or you do something, and nobody even sort of sees it. You see? I mean, that bloody poster that I did for Martin Luther King, when I took the print along to show Callan Collins, after all, I'd worked on it for a week for him, he was too busy to even see it. And I felt like getting him on by the scruff of the neck and stuffing it up his nose, you see. Well, then sort of 2 or 3 weeks go by and you get over this because, of course, you're aware that it's got something to do with ego as well, you see. So you think, oh, Christ, it's me being a bit big-headed sort of thing. You begin to get over that. And then suddenly, okay, go ahead with it, get it printed and all the rest of it. They now need you, you see. So suddenly, you're useful. So you've got to get on with the job. You get on with the job. It's all printed. It goes up on the hoardings. It wins the award and everything. And they cancel it. The whole thing cancelled. Because there's now been a struggle on the committee. And the committee has decided this is too political. What they want is a nice Oxfam approach. Give 5 shillings for the poor starving niggers, you see. Because you've just had a meal in rules or something. Now, the whole point of that is that it's not about giving 5 shillings for the poor starving niggers. It's about stopping calling people niggers. You see? And it's 2 completely different things. Now, they will raise money a bit quicker, I expect. But if they don't tackle the politics of it, they might as well not try. You see? Now, after all that effort, you know, there was a lot of personal effort. And at last, you think, Christ, there's a bit of success. Oh, bloody thing's cancelled. See? And, you know, now, if there hadn't been the 2 things, if there wasn't a bit of reading in Marx, not a great deal, because I found Marx bloody awful to read, but all the people that brings you into contact with, like the people I've mentioned, even Harry Pollett, you see, meet the bloke like that. If it hadn't been for those things, honest, I'd have packed it in years ago. Although there are certain dangers in any sort of organisation, you're not going to change the world without an organisation. And in this country, the trade unions are the organisations of the working class that really mean something. The trade union movement offers a mass basis and the possibilities of being a very democratic organisation. Their need for presenting themselves to ordinary people, and for that matter to the bosses and to the capitalist class itself, their need for presenting themselves is, however, enormous. But they have a tremendous suspicion of artists and of fancy writers, often with very good reason. But providing that the right bridge is made by the artist, and here there's a tremendous responsibility on the artist himself, providing the right bridge is made, I've always found that there's been a bloody good response from the trade union movement. On the part of the artist, however, this requires real determination over a very long time. It's no use my doing easel paintings for the working class and so on, because they just don't go into art galleries. That's why I'm interested in newspapers like The Record. It forms a bridge between me and at least 1.5 million readers. It's very difficult finding a medium where there's a real contact between the artist and the sort of people that I want to communicate with. while doing meetings like the one in the Peterloo Gallery, where there is a real two-way exchange. It's vital for me to build bridges in this way too. I was reading this morning a piece by Brett where he says that he was concerned with the art of non-submission rather than with the art of submission. Now, I'm absolutely for this. That's what I would like to concern myself with. He puts it into those very straightforward words. I tend to see it as a picture. I once saw the banner of a group of American revolutionaries who had a great curling snake, a very virile, lively snake, and the words written in white underneath them, underneath the snake, said, "Don't tread on me." And that's the way I feel, and it's true, of course, that men and women, courageous men and women, throughout time, have said, "Don't tread on me." Courageous or desperate, or sometimes both. But the 20th century is the century of Don't Tread on Me. Don't Tread on Me is now a worldwide organisation, worldwide movement with which I would like to be associated. And the best contribution that I can make, I think, to that, very small contribution that I can make to it, is through my work. Now, in order for this to be used in the best way, I would like to begin to recreate an international language, a language of signs, in the way that the Martin Luther King poster is an international sign. Anyone, anywhere, can see a portrait of Martin Luther King in that drawing. Not a portrait of his face, obviously, but a portrait of the man's work, which is what a man really is. Also, the drawing that I did some years ago of the fishes, all the little red fishes being pursued by the great big blackfish, I showed that to a group of banana workers in the Canary Islands. Now, you know, the Canary Islands is ruled by Spain, Spanish colony almost. And the drawing was folded so that when I took it from the envelope, they saw, first of all, the black fish and immediately associated it with Franco. And then they saw all the little fish dispersing and being eaten, and they immediately reacted and saw themselves as the little fish. And then when I opened the drawing right out, they saw all the little fish banded together to chase this big fish. And they all broke into laughter and were very happy. And I showed it also to some Spanish policemen. And I won't say they didn't understand it, but they didn't enjoy it in the way the first group of people did. So I'm trying to create a language that people that I'm interested in can not only understand but also enjoy, enter into. I showed the same drawing to Jack Jones, who saw it in terms of trade union organisation, of unity, of the dispersal of the fishes by non-unity and their power, their irresistible power when they're united. My friends in the medical aid, Vietnam medical aid movement, saw it in terms of big power politics, the big power attacking the small power and so on. So that everyone associated their own experience with the drawing, and therefore it came alive for them. But I'm sure it's a good example, one of the few, I'm afraid, as far as I'm concerned, where a real international language is created, where all the barriers of language and culture and difference falls away because there is a visual language which bridges all these things. Now, the creation of such a language is immensely difficult. I find it immensely difficult. And I find that I have to work my way through to it. For example, with the cannons that I did, where there's the rather obvious symbol of the flowers in the cannon, and then the birds in the cannon, and finally that, what I think is a good picture of the fart, which is just about, that's it. Again, that is international. That's what I'm trying to get at. Now, when one is very young, I suppose, 2, 3, 4, up to the age, in the case of my kids, I suppose it was about 8, everyone enjoys language, both visual and spoken. There's an immense curiosity and enjoyment of this wonderful thing called language, pictures and words. But then society conspires to deaden the joy of language. And for those who continue to use it, for those children who are lucky enough to be able to continue to write or draw, even for them, this language becomes a means of hiding their feelings rather than expressing their feelings. And this results in all sorts of stereotype reactions by people to their lives. It particularly affects the working class movement, trade unions, who often react by rote, by tradition, by dogma, rather than by a creative approach to life. For example, education classes in the labour movement often are nothing of the sort. They're rather indoctrination classes. They're not classes where there is a searching, a probing of what it's all about, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. And so methods of working, ideas that should long ago have been put aside and replaced by more creative approaches, these continue. And so you go on with this deadened approach where what is needed is a live approach, a virile approach. So that when you were a kid, you've got this magnificent surge of inquisitiveness, which, a sort of spring of exploration, and the spring, society smashes the spring away and is very quickly replaced by a deadened autumn.